Hi, who is Mark Anthony DuBose Jr.? That was born July 4th, 1986. It's a question I'm always asking. And I want to say thank you for tuning in. And today I want to talk about something that excites me. Excites me in a way of, probably for someone else, it might put you on a downward spiral in reality with what I've just been noticing of what's a trend that goes on with me in my life. There's something that I want to talk about today of why I believe this trend is constantly going on. And it's the concept of we are not in control of our behaviors. We don't get to choose and dictate and predict what our behaviors are going to be. Our environment does. There's some genetic makeup in there, but your environment is going to make you decide what you're scared of, what you're excited about, what you don't care about. And your environment is constantly pushing and putting, the word I want to use here is pressure. It's constantly putting pressure on you to respond to what's going on. You never get a chance to just, in reality, straight up, this is the part with life that is very interesting. We don't just automatically become, the word that I want to talk about here is where most people need to get, and why I see that people are doing what they're doing, talking about me, because they can't get to this word, indifferent. You can't get indifferent. The world is constantly putting this pressure to keep us to fight or to run away or flight. It's constantly pushing us to do this. And until you just make a decision to say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead. You're just going to continue to keep staying in it. That's why it's a fascinating thing when someone is going to say to me, no, Mark, I'm in control. I have the freedom. I have free will to be able to do what I want. If that was the case, this is the one thing that I'm going to state with that. If you have the freedom to choose your behaviors, you have the freedom to choose what you're afraid of, you have the freedom to choose what you're excited about, then why are you not doing what you want in your life? Why are you not the millionaire that you want to be, or billionaire, or trillionaire? Why are you not the successful person and have all your relationships are just so perfect and everything is so great? Why is your life not this, like, the word I want to use here is Jesus-like person that is just flawless in all that you do? How are you not that? How come you're not creating that for yourself if you have the freedom to be able to do, but you don't? You're based everything off of this fear. In most cases, unfortunately, fear is the contributing motivator in this world. It's like fear is powerful. It is very powerful. It is so powerful that that's what the main thing, the main key component, the key ingredient that I see on why people do what they do, and why your dogs do what they do, and why everything around you does what they do. Because fear is the biggest thing that I'm going to talk about here is, especially with what it is that I talk about with these dogs. Somebody comes in and you don't understand. You don't understand it, so that can put you into a level of fear. That level of fear makes you have to respond. It makes you have to fight back. You can either avoid it, which basically that's been my whole life, is avoidance. I run away and not even run away. I purposely keep it away, like say things that I'm scared of, things that I don't know, because I don't want to know. I'm scared to know, because that fear of knowing may make things worse for me. Because in reality, the more that I'm realizing to let the control go, allow and realize that the environment is shaping me, that I don't get a choice in the matter, the scarier it gets. But the more that you keep doing it, the easier it gets. And that control has to happen because you start to get fearful. Why do we put a muzzle on the dog? Because you get scared. You don't put it on because everything is good to go and, oh, woohoo. No, you're scared. So you're doing something because you're scared. You have to put, I'm not even gonna go there, but you have to do these things because you're scared of the dog. You're scared of what could happen. If you're able to just will everything, why are you scared? Why are you nervous? But you have to put that control on because you're scared. You have to now start to influence your ways with your control. And the word influence here, I want to say, when it comes down to this level of control, is gaslighting. You have to start gaslighting. You have to start to sweet baby talks. You have to start doing sweet nothings. You have to start speaking stuff to try to get that thing to make it so that you are no longer scared of it anymore. And the more manipulated stance that it is, the more that you're forcing it in your world and to be under your control, the safer that you feel. So then you start to be able to relax some and say, hey, we're good. But what happens is you start to apply that negative pressure, or fear is negative essentially at the end of the day. And you're applying that to that, say, animal. And when that animal finally or that person, because the worst case is when it's people. So this is the part that I see with people. Y'all are talking about me and doing stuff here that is it's I don't want to say it's funny, but it is entertaining, and it is eye-opening, and it is educational, and it is just a beautiful experience to be able to be in right now. It really calms me down. I don't know what to say. Like last night I was on research. I'm active, working hard again now. I'm like back in being what it is that I'm back on, say, my purpose, not the purpose of what people were controlling me to make me be able to do. When you start to get scared, you start to look to hold on to something. So in this world, you're just free floating. You're floating. And when you get scared, you look to grab onto something. You're like, oh, you want to hold on to that. So basically, that's something that I can say is you hold on to these identities. You hold on to, oh, I need to be a husband. I need to be a parent. I need to be a dog owner. I need to have a PhD to be a doctor. I need to be a lawyer. You hold on to these things. You're scared, like, I don't know who I am. So I just want to hold on to the first thing that's near me. And you start to hold on to it, and you start to accept that identity. But you realize that's not actually who you truly are. You're running away from your identity because you're scared. You're scared of just floating and free floating and just going and just allowing life to just happen. You're scared. You think that you need to grab and hold and be. Because in reality, our society forces us to do that. And the more that you're grabbing, holding, and being, the more that you're getting further into control. And the more control that you get into, the more that you need to control everything else around you. Because you are scared of allowing them to just be and just do and just be relaxed and calm. People are scared of that. People are so scared today of someone that doesn't break the rules, but doesn't go by the guidelines, the rules that society has put on society. There's a way of being in society that is breaking the societal rules, but not breaking the rules of the lands, such as I still drive 60 when it's 60. But when you tell me I have to this, I have to react to this, I have to respond to this, and I say, no, I don't have to. That challenges people, and it puts you in fear. And that fear drives someone to say, hold on, I got to do something now. I got to do something. And that do something is I got to put them in control. So I have many people right now. I don't even know how many at this point, which is interesting in my life, that I imagine as a young boy getting to this point, but I imagine getting into it later in life. I never thought that I would be able to speak words that someone would say, have the sense of they want to start to control me. Because that's the part when I thought that when, say, basically I left the control of my parents, I left the control of my dad, I was like, I'm no longer in this. No one's going to want to do that to me anymore. But I realized that's not true. The whole world is trying to control. We're all trying to control each other. And I realize there's so many people that are trying to control me. And the way that they're doing that is in the sense of trying to get me to react, trying to get me to respond, trying to get me to fight, trying to get me to not so much as flee, because that doesn't really help them to be able to control me. If I'm running away, it's going to be harder to control me. But if I start fighting with you, if I start arguing with you, then you can start to control me. And the thing is, it never comes to the stance of something that you are actually like showing. They always have to pick something out somewhere else. Look over there. Look what they did. Look over there. Look over there. Look over there. Look over there. To try to, like, this is the thing. People can't just up front be able to, how do I say this? You have to attack something, anything in somebody's life to try to get them to respond. And when they respond, when they react, they are now under their control. And when you just don't do anything with it, you just look at it, you see it, you say, oh, I see what you're doing. I see what's going on. You're like, that's cool, buddy. That's fascinating, actually. Like, let me learn more about that, because this is, again, to me, this is the stuff, the life lessons that I've learned is when I get that sensation of, I can't believe they said that about me. I can't believe that they're doing that right now. They're seriously shifting the focus. They're painting a picture. They're creating a narrative. They're doing everything they can because they are in fear, because they lack the control, because they like and have no choice but to control everything. And if something that they hear doesn't go along with what it is that they do, that's the fear that kicks in, that now the control has to start to happen. And they have you have no choice but to react. And this is the part with me that I used to live this way. This is the way that my border collie is. My border collie is, I'm going to use this word because it's still weird to me to say I love my dogs. I like my dogs. I get along with my dogs, but I'm not in love with my dogs. That's strange to me. They're dogs. But I like this boy because he is a true representation of who I was. He is to the core of what control and influence is all about. And control and influence to the point of being a dictator. He is a pure form of it. The way he works these animals, he's not coming at them in a sense of, hey, can you please? No, he's coming in a sense of saying, you don't have a choice. You better move. You better do what I say. And then he puts that control on. And then once the animal is under his control, now he can move it wherever he wants. And then now once he moves it wherever he wants, now he's putting the influence on of saying, you better this, you better this, you better that. But the thing that is just the most beautiful experience to be able to see with this dog, that I see the biggest separation between this dictator and a human dictator, is once he controls the animal, he's under his control. Once he puts his influence on of saying, this is what I want you to do, as long as they do that, he doesn't care about them at all anymore. He's done. He's like, y'all do whatever you want as long as you do that. So say the rule out here is don't be over here. You can do whatever you want back there, or certain ones, but for the most part. So say a hen is not allowed to be here, but they could do whatever they want, wherever else they want to go. He does not dictate every aspect of their life. That's what human beings start to do. They want to start to dictate every aspect of your life, because the things that happen here is with humans is you start to get more and more and more fearful. And then you need more and more and more control. And then that more control makes you to be more and more fearful. It's a loop that just keeps going. Then that's when you need to start influence. And your influence for the animals is a little different. I don't even want to use a little. It's a lot different in my experience than influence with another human being. The dog putting influence on another animal, it's like they don't push back. It's like natural. It's the most naturalistic way of this lands of how these animals interact with each other. That when the dog says to the sheep, stay there, the sheep's like, for the most part, there's ones that challenge, but for the most part, they're just like, okay, I'm fine. But that doesn't work with humans. It doesn't work that way. We start to wisen up, I guess I could say. We start to push back. We start to question. We start to ask some things. I guess the main thing behind that is, in reality, nowadays, it's getting almost like worse, but better in a way, because we have all this extra information to be able to get to. The dogs don't have the extra information. What that dog is programmed to do, he just does that. He's not hearing from my neighbor's dog of like, hey, buddy, I know you move those animals, but you ever thought about doing it like this? He doesn't get that option. We do, though. We get that option. We get that choice. And that's the part of being, because say for him, for instance, he is living in his genetics, in the environment that push his genetics to be the best of the best. And that's where us as humans, we're getting, the word I want to use here is muddy. We're getting mixed so much that our genetics don't line up with our environment. And if we're not in the right environment with our genetics, we're going to start to need the control, because we're going to start to get into fear. But when you're free flowing, doing what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be, you're going to flourish, and it's not going to be work. It's just going to be something simple. But we get scared. This is where the fear kicks in and says, oh, I can't just be a musician because I might fail. So let me go hold on to this instead. You hold on to something else, and that's what's making you get away from what you're supposed to be doing, because you want to control it. You think that you can control your next actions, your next moves. You can't. And the more that you try to control it, the more you get yourself into fear, the more anxiety you get, the more depressed you end up getting, because you're not being able to do what you're holding back from inside. The more all this starts to build up, and the more that starts to build up, what do you think you need? More control. More control. And what happens in most relationships, unfortunately, why women of today are giving so much pushback to women's rights, because men were putting so much control. And that's the part that a lot of people don't quite get. People are under the understanding that men are like abusing, hitting, like doing stuff like that. It's not the physical. It's the mental. The mental is what's most destructive. I'd rather you just hit me, punch me, as opposed to play these games that are trying to gaslight me for my whole life to try to make me see a world that actually isn't true. I'd rather you just hit me. Just get it over with. Like, just show that so I could just say, okay, we're good. I'm gone. I don't want to do this anymore. So the things that's going on here is bad enough that we do that to ourselves. And then when we start to see that, we have to give pushback to it. And then what starts to happen? Now, what are we doing? We're doing that to the dogs. Because now that I can't easily do that to a human, because we could just get online and be able to see this stuff about narcissism and sociopaths and psychopaths and all this stuff. Now we can all like see the signs. But you know what can't? The dogs. So now, since we're fearful, now since we don't know what to do, now since this is my life right here that I'm talking about, and it is what it is, but it's my life that I've been overcoming, because that's where my border collie, he really impresses me so much with seeing all of this. It's an incredible experience, and you want something that is yours so much, something under your control so much. And that's where you get the dog, and you push it down, you push it down, you push it down. Anything it does, it can't be its own. It has to do everything that you tell it to do, because you're scared. You're scared of just being free and letting it all go. You're scared of what people are going to think. You're scared of what people are going to do. You're scared of how people are going to treat you. You're scared that you're going to lose everyone in your family. You're going to lose your whole friends. You're going to lose your work. You're going to lose. You're scared. All that's going to happen. You're scared. You're constantly scared. You're constantly running away, or you're constantly fighting at something. It's the fighting at something that makes it just worse in reality, more than running away from it. Running away from it, at least you can run away to figure out what's going on, which in reality is going to more likely put you into a more of a depressed state and an anxiety state that is not going to want to get back at somebody. When you start to fight, you start to want to get back at. You start to want to attack them, because you want them to feel how you feel. You don't know everything. You don't have it all figured out. And when you're listening to someone, Shadow, get out of here. And when you're listening, is it raining? All right, you can come. No, still, you can get out of here. You'll be all right. It is raining. It was not supposed to be raining today. Our weather people are like, if you want a job that you could always be wrong, like, oh my goodness, it's some ridiculous stuff. But you have to keep this level of control on, because you start to get to that. You don't understand what they're doing and how it's working, and you're seeing something going on, and it doesn't make sense to you because you don't know how to let that control go. And letting the control go is, I'm gonna say like straight up, it's like death. It's a death of you. Your whole world is gonna shatter. Everything that you thought and believed in is gonna just shatter. Everything that you trusted in is gonna shatter. Your whole life is gonna be a complete disruption, a complete just disaster in reality for a while, because who you thought you were, what you thought everything was, you're gonna realize it's no longer that. Because once you realize, I'm gonna let the control go and see what is actually out there, it's going to open you up to seeing the world in a way that you no longer have to worry about being scared and going in and being fearful. That when it comes, because it's going to happen, we don't get to control that. It comes to us. But when it comes, you're going to know what to do. You're going to know the best word I can use is deal with it. Not fight with it, not run from it, but become indifferent to it. And you're going to become indifferent to it in a way that's going to only just trigger people even more. It's going to trigger folks even more to want to just continue to keep on fighting back at you, pushing back at you, having everything to do to get you to react. The world does not like indifferent people. The world is going to fight you to the death. They're going to fight you to get you back into that same level of control. They want you controlled. It's all that this world is looking for. They want you under control. They do not want you to be indifferent. An indifferent person is almost at to the point of stance of impossible to control. Almost impossible, because you're going to do something, you're going to say something, you're going to make something happen. And a different person is going to say that, you got to do what you got to do over there. You say what you want to say over there. It's cool. It's cool. But the only thing is, all that happens is they just intensify. And the biggest part behind this is they have no choice but to intensify, because it scares them even more. It scares them even more that you just keep doing what you're doing. You keep making happen what you make happen. It scares them even more. So they got to try even harder. They got to try to get other people involved. They got to go over here. They got to go over there. They got to do this. They got to add all this. This is the concept of people. Narcissism to the core. Flying monkeys. And what else are the names that they use with that? But mainly it's that. The narcissists, if they can't get to you, they will start to send the word I like using is goons. They'll start to send their goons out to try to get you. When those goons don't work, those goons will get goons to try to get at you. When those don't work, it'll just keep magnifying to the point that you're just gonna start to get so much pressure. It's gonna be so overwhelming that you're just gonna feel like, I just want to quit. Like, forget it. Y'all won, but you can't quit. You can't just give up. You got to just keep pushing forward and keep going into it and say, do what you got to do. Because I'm not going to come under your leadership. I'm not going to come under your dictatorship. I'm not going to come under your control. I'm going to continue to keep on being what the word I like using is a free floater. A free floater of allowing another word I'll use is may not be an appropriate word, but allowing me to be able to go through to find and be in my destiny, what I was here to do, who I am. My name is not who I am. A dog trainer is not who I am. Working with animals is not who I am. A father is not who I am. A husband, not who I am. None of that is who I am. All of that is meaningless. It's just pointless. It's stuff that I've taken on to try to make myself think that's who I am. But it's all just a lie, because it's all me just trying to control my own self, and I can't control myself. I'm going. The world is happening, and I can't stop it. I cannot say I'm okay. I don't want to be scared of that no more. No, I have to do something about it. I can't just pick and choose. I don't have freedom. I'm not free. I'm under control of the world, and I don't want to be under control of the world. I want to figure out how to be indifferent to the world. And that's something that, unfortunately, the more and more that you get to that stance, the more that the world is going to want to try to fight back. And the more that the world is going to fight back, and the word I'm going to use here is they'll get dirty. When they can't get at you and what you're actually there, they're going to go look for something over there. They're going to get dirty. They're going to get nasty. They're going to start talking about your kids. They're going to start talking about your stuff. They're going to start talking about everything that doesn't even involve and even matter with what it is that you're talking about and doing. They're going to start to get dirty, just real nasty, real muddy, real just filthy. They're going to go deep. And this is the concept of like what goes on with politicians. They go deep. They go back to something that, I wouldn't be surprised if someone didn't bring up like my criminal background history. That's the word I'm going to use, is I used to be a criminal. I won't be surprised if someone's going to start making YouTube videos talking about something because they were looking up a police reports that I had and say, oh, see what he did? You can't listen to this. That's what they do. They don't have a choice because they're scared and they're in this excessive amount of fear. And the fear drives them to have to control and have to influence, and influence in a way of gaslighting. They have to paint a narrative. They have to portray someone to be what they want them to be, what they want everyone else to look at them as. And this is the thing. This is the problem. When you don't care, I don't care. When you don't care, it doesn't matter. When you don't care, if you want to paint that person to look a certain way to everyone else, that person doesn't care how the other people even look at them. They're still going to just keep doing what they're doing. That's the part where I want to say that's where it's powerful. And that's the part where, for me, I'm not a leader. I'm not a dictator. I'm just someone to be able to share a story, to be able to get someone to understand you're not free. Something's controlling you. And what's controlling you is making you want to control other things around you. Once you release the control that you have on others, this is what I'll say. Once you start to forgive others, others will start to forgive you. Whether they want to or not, it's going to happen. And it starts with us. Once I stop controlling everything around me and recognize, man, I'm wrong. I'm not right for this. You're going to realize that everything else in your life is going to start to just open up. And you're going to start to be able to get on that path that you're supposed to be on. That path that's of least resistance is what I want to say. That path of, this is the part with me that I'm still not 100% sure. I'm going to say something weird right now, but I don't believe that everyone is human. I believe that some people are different in a way. They're not the same, and they don't understand what I'm talking about right now. Even if I say the name of Jesus, I bring in religion. I don't want to use the word religion. If I bring in the name of the Bible in this, someone doesn't understand that because they can't control that. So they have fear of that. They can't control that. So they're going to reject it. And a lot of people avoid it. And a lot of people, I just personally believe, they have no experience with it. So that makes them even more fearful. It puts them even more in a rut. It pushes them further and further and further down that they need more and more and more and more and more control. So that's why they have to get nastier and nastier and nastier. That's why they have to start to dig. That's why they start to push buttons. They have to start to act like a 2-year-old child. Let's add some age on that. An 8 to 7-year-old child that just has to just push and push and poke 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 until what in the end, what's going to happen? I can't slap the kid. It's a little child. I'm just going to slap the child. I'm not going to walk away from the kid because the kid's just going to keep walking and poking me. I'm going to get to the point. I'm just saying, keep poking, buddy. Keep poking, because you're going to get tired of poking at some point. You're just going to get tired of it. And then you're just going to end up getting to the point of just saying, you know what, this just ain't worth it, because this guy isn't moving for me poking him. That's being indifferent. That's not giving a crap. That's being able to just be neutral as all can be, no matter what's going on around you. But that's hard for people for some reason, and I'm realizing why. It stems from fear. Fear. puts us to make us want to start to control. And once we start to control, that's where the loop of fear just keeps double downing and double downing and double downing. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it's so hard to get out of it. Some of us are in so much control right now and living with everything around us in so much control right now that you can't even fathom a life of not doing that and being in that. That's the part when a lot of people see me with just my simple animals with what I do. You can't fathom it. It's like that's impossible. It's impossible because of how much control you're under, how much control you're forcing on others, how much control everything in your life is all about you and not caring anything about anyone else. You can't possibly think about letting that go. You can't. Your world. Like I said earlier, what happens at first is it's like you die. Like everything about you becomes just meaningless. You become a meaningless human being. So I love the book of Ecclesiastes. You just become a meaningless. Everything is just meaningless. Everything is just, it doesn't matter. I don't care how much money I got. I don't care how many women I got. I don't care how much stuff I got. It's all meaningless. It's all pointless. I don't care how much fame I got, how much recognition. It's meaningless. It doesn't matter. But to most everyone, you need to hold on to that stuff to make you feel like you have value. And that's the control. And it's hard to let it go. And it's hard to see someone that doesn't do that. You would say that's not going to work. It's not going to work because you don't have any experience with it. No experience. And it's not easy to get into the level of being able to have the experience. It's going to be more likely, like almost guaranteed, one of the most difficult things you're going to ever do in your life. One of the most difficult things you're going to do is learn how to let that control go. Thank you. I'm starting to just... Motivated may not be the word, but I'm starting to get more intrigued. That's the first car name I ever had. Intrigue. Oldsmobile Intrigue. Nice green, pretty car. I'm starting to get more intrigued with seeing and working with what it is that I'm doing. Because I'm starting to really, really become aware of realizing for a fact, I'm controlled by my environment. I'm not creating it. It's creating me. I can try to change myself, put myself somewhere else to try to help me out. But in reality, if I don't want to adapt to where I am and get up to par with where my environment is taking me, it's controlling me. It's dictating who I am and what I'm going to do. It's putting me in where it wants me to be, in a small little area. Don't think about looking over there. Just only look in this little area. Don't think about expanding. Don't think about growing. Don't think about getting out of here. You got to stay in this level of fight and flight. Don't think about becoming just neutral to it. Don't even give it an option. It's an interesting experience.